T-shirts.
T-shirts!
We have shirts!
We have
shirts!
And they're going to be around until the end of summer.
Yeah.
So get them because they are limited edition.
My goodness. I
things.
better go run and get one.
Yeah. Put it on your body.
Put it on your body. It supports our SoundCloud, so we can have SoundCloud. If you want SoundCloud, buy our shirts. Thanks.
Hello, we are Hannah.
Echo.
And Crystal.
And this is a news, culture, and current events podcast. I almost forgot it.
It's been
I
a
believe
whole
in
week.
you.
This is a news, culture, and current events podcast from the perspective of 3 YouTubers. Hey,
Yeah.
Echo!
Yes, Hannah.
What are we salty about today?
I am salty about when I love something obsessively and I'm the only person who loves it and my community cannot relate, so I can't even share it and rant about it online because no one will understand.
That is such a mood. That is the mood
Yes.
of the
I
month.
feel that.
Yes.
So, I have something to say. When you mentioned this is what happened, this is the timeline of events. Echo was like, "Hey, we're gonna do the podcast on niche. Is it niche or niche?
Yeah.
Niche?
Is it niche? I don't know. I say niche because that's how I heard it first.
I
think it might be niche.
Probably
I don't know.
either, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's what she said, and I was like, okay, great. So I went down this rabbit hole of like juggalos and bronies.
Man.
And then you were like, I'm into doll making now, and I was like, oh god, that's not the direction I went. So I'd love to hear about your doll making before I take it into a dark place.
Yeah. So this is the thing that is... I like embracing this because it's like one of those like weird little things. Mm-hmm. There's this online community of people who make dolls. Like, it's just like literally like casting in resin like ball jointed dolls. And they're called BJDS, but it stands for ball jointed doll. Anyway, it's like such a small group of people on the internet, which is like, it's still hundreds of people, but that's small for the internet. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I've been like breaking dolls apart and like painting, like practicing doing face ups and stuff, which is like when you paint like really intense like face paint essentially on like a doll instead of like the factory paint. And it's like there's so much stuff that goes into it, and I've been doing all of these crazy things and like doing experiments with like resin and silicone and like all these different things, but it's like I can't, not yet at least, I can't like just make a ton of videos about this because it's not something that anyone in my community is going to relate to or understand. It's just gonna be some weird video that I make for me, so I'm just saving it all up, and I'm gonna make one master video at some point about my weird like BJD hobby that I've taken on.
I understand completely. I've wanted to do a summary of Final Fantasy 15 for over a year. Literally, I've talked about it like 3 times. I think one person on my Tumblr who's a fan of mine is like, Final Fantasy 15 is good. I'm like, yeah, one person. And like, I know for a fact that if I spent the time to make it, I would have a fucking ball. And I'm sure the Final Fantasy 15 fandom would enjoy it. Literally none of my fans, except for that one person on Tumblr, will watch it. Sad. I know this just because whenever I do, like, you gotta test the waters. I don't know if you guys have done this. Then you can make a tweet, you make a post, you like mention it offhandedly and just see how many people respond. It's always just that one person on Tumblr.
Yeah. It's like Gishwis. Gishwis is the same way. That was my very like fuck it all thing, where I was just like, I'm gonna go hard on this and make videos about it. I'm gonna like flex my channel to the fullest extent to help me get stuff done, and no one's gonna care. But I don't care because I love this so freaking much.
That's the spirit. Yeah, I was like that a little bit ago. I love Game Grumps. They're not like a small community or anything. They've got like 3 million subs, I think. Yeah. But it's just that my community doesn't care about gamers as much.
Yeah, they don't overlap.
Which is fine. But that's almost all I watch on YouTube anymore. Because I'm trash. And so I made a Game Grumps animation, and it was like terrible views. And you spend hours on this, and then you don't make any money from it, and if anything you like lose subs over it, and it's just so sad. Because this is the way we show what we're passionate about, and when you can't do what specifically niche thing that you're passionate about, it's so upsetting. And then I went back and said niche instead of niche. I'll just go
That's
back and
fine.
forth the whole time.
I know exactly
It's
what you mean.
interchangeable.
Either way.
It's a sad feeling, especially when we do like
Mhm.
stuff like art and animation. It does take so long. It's not just like a throw together piece where you enthusiastically talk at a camera. You like draw the art and you make the characters and you do the shit and you move them around and you like storyboard the video and then people unsubscribe and it does horribly. And you're
I
like,
know, it's
"Ah."
awful.
Or you do a slightly larger niche fandom just for shits and giggles, and then you attract all of them, like I did with Supernatural.
Yeah.
And now they're all screaming
shit's
at me to
weird.
only do Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they won't... I mean, I love you guys. I'm not gonna say they won't shut up, but, like it
You can
haunts
say
me.
it.
Like,
You can say it.
it haunts me. Like, it really does. Like, they'll be like, oh, this was so good. When are you doing Supernatural Season 9? Like, it literally, nothing else that I do matters. Like, and it sucks because now I did a niche thing that was a passion project that I was like, this would be so funny. It's probably not going to get views. Got the most views, like one of the top viewed videos on my channel. Now I just have a whole bunch of Supernatural fans, and they're like, only make Supernatural ever. like that's like. I upload a story. I upload anything else, and it's just unsub. Like negative numbers for days just because I didn't upload a fucking Supernatural video.
You're
It
cleaning
makes
out
me
the cobwebs.
hate it. It makes me hate it.
It's gotta happen sometimes. I know.
It makes
Or,
me
like,
hate it so much.
When you start out over a fandom that you're really passionate about, and then you slowly get out of it, and everyone in your community is still like, yes, we still love the thing.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
just like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't love
Yeah,
that
I
thing as
don't
much
love
as
it.
I used
I've
to.
never experienced that before. Never. Not once, guys. I love Hannah so much.
To this day.
Biggest stan, Hannah Hoffman.
That's me. Only watch their content ever.
Ever.
Then just silence for a little bit, guys. Moment of silence.
Moment of silence for our dead dreams and fandoms.
For our fallen men. The men we lost on the sea of the fandoms. Oh god. Yeah, it'll really kill your spirit.
It does.
Being a part of
It
a
does so
fandom
much.
that's really intense. It's
Yeah, we've
fun
talked
for a
about
little
that
bit.
before.
It's true we have. And I think it's even more intense with niche communities because they
Mhm.
only have each other. And I always go, I know, right? They only have each other. Nobody gets it, guys. And I was thinking about this. So there's fandoms that feel small but are actually really big, like specifically like Homestuck. I mean, the next thing that comes to mind for me is like BDSM stuff. And I think the reason why they feel small but are actually huge is because nobody talks about it anywhere else. It's only in those like places. You know, you don't go into, you know, your workplace and be like, hey guys, I'm into BDSM. Here's my BDSM shirt. Here's my BDSM merch.
Or like furries, like people don't go into their job and be like, look at this furry fan art that
Oh
I
my
made.
god,
Look
you'd
at
be
this
surprised
thing.
though. Any furry I know is like very confident about it.
I feel like you only know about the confident ones though.
yeah.
Like I'm
You
sure
know
there's
what? You're
I'm
right.
sure there's some you don't know.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I had a friend though that was like a very confident furry, and he just wore a tail like all the time, and I was like,
Okay.
my man,
Oh, that's
my man,
hilarious.
You do it.
Live your dreams.
I love that level of like, this is my fandom. I am committed to this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Like
mean,
that's
Go
great.
to town. You're not hurting anybody. It didn't bother me. He paid me a lot for art. Let's do this. But yeah, I just think that phenomenon is so interesting because you feel like you're all alone until you go to these like really intense communities.
And that's all they do is just love that thing.
Yeah, that is
It's like,
all they do.
Yeah, and it's like super like concentrated.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's BJD meetups. Like there's ball jointed doll meetups where people will just bring the dolls that they have made and painted and stuff. And it's like there's entire communities and Instagram posts that are dedicated to like specific dolls that people have, and then they'll like pose like they'll make photo shoots for these dolls. So it's like beautiful Instagram girl, but like with a really intense like beautiful doll that's like almost like
I've
freaking
seen
like
those
realistic,
posts.
right?
I've seen
They're-
those posts.
I'm so obsessed with them because they're so beautiful just as like a craft.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing art and I love them so much. I'm so weird and a dork, and I'm so obsessed with this thing, and I can't rant about it on my channel or my Instagram or any of my stuff.
It's funny because it's so on brand for you. It is really weird, but and it just fits you. It fits you so perfectly,
right?
And the whole thing of your channel is Echo is weird, and you can't do the thing that you want to do on it.
I know.
Oh, that's really funny.
It's so ridiculous.
I would.
I think that's another reason that I love it so much is because it's so perfectly me.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I'm like, yes, Echo would 1000% do this thing. Like, I don't know what else she would do.
If I were you and like wanted to make a video on it, I'd make it like just fantastically clickbaity, like my weird obsession or like something like that.
Yes,
all caps.
Oh,
my
man.
secret hobby,
Yeah,
and then just have like the blurred out doll or something in the background where it's
That's
just
the
like
one. That's
how you do it.
So I was gonna ask what your guilty pleasure fandom is, and I think Echo, you might have answered this.
Yeah, a bit right now. It is definitely my guilty pleasure fandom. That is my current obsession.
Is there like any more embarrassing ones that you're like, I don't want to talk about this because we need to hear about them?
Oh god, I know it's gonna be some weird art thing because I know that I'm trying to think of like the weird art stuff that I follow.
Mine isn't so weird. It's
what is
pretty
it?
Actually popular now. It's pimple popping. I literally can't stop.
Is
I've
there a
heard of
fandom
this.
for that?
Yes.
What?
Yes. There's a whole
I mean, I
subreddit.
enjoy it. It's like it's so enjoyable. But I didn't know there was a fandom.
There's a whole
for it.
subreddit called R Popping, and it's my jam. It's just my jam. I just go through it all the time. It's disgusting, but I just can't stop.
It's satisfying. I understand completely.
So satisfying.
My sister has accidentally got me into weave videos. So just like hairstylists, women just like
I've
putting
seen those.
weaves and like showing how to like this is how you like put a weave in someone's hair, and it's just so satisfying watching. And it's also like a lot of the time it's very lo-fi, so it feels like old YouTube, which is so nice. It's
Speaking
such a
of
good nostalgia
satisfying,
feeling.
being on fucking Instagram in the search bar, they give me these oddly satisfying videos. Oh my god, they give me life. They just like smush like fucking glitter.
Like
or
the
they
slime
cut
videos.
soap. They cut the soap and it's so perfect, and I'm just like, yes, cut the soap. Like, I love it so much.
Oh, that's a terrible a guilty pleasure that I have is watching old Vine compilations. Vine is so dead, and these memes are all so dead, but I can't not spend like 2 hours just watching
They're just so
tons
good.
of Vine compilations.
I also am really, my other guilty pleasure, I don't know if it's guilty pleasure, but lately it's been Otome games. Do you guys know about the Otome life?
This sounds familiar.
Echo, I made you play Mystic Messenger.
Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't know that's what it was called. Oh, that's my other phone guilty pleasure is Mandrake Boys. This is a terrible, stupid game where you plant little chibi boys, and if you collect enough boys, then you unlock these stories, and then when you unlock all the stories, you get like 3 illustrations, and it's like really nice artwork. So, but you can you have to get these stars, which are like the monetary coin thing, and you can either buy it or you can download other games and play those games. Then when you get to a certain level, they'll give you those coins. So it's like a stupid ad revenue thing, and so I play a bunch of like stupid slot machine games to get stars so that I can play Mandrake Boys better.
Yep, I understand.
It's really stupid.
I do. I've spent a slightly shameful amount of money on just the currency in these Otome games. It started with just, I like the boys from Final Fantasy 15. They seem like nice guys. And then the people in that fandom were like, you should try this thing called Mystic Messenger. And then we obsessed about that for a year and a half, and then we're like, you should play this other game called the Arcana, and now I'm in that, and I've spent a lot of money, and I'm a little ashamed, but the stories are so good. It's not just any Otome, okay? Like, I know some people be loving Samurai Love Ballad. I tried. I don't like it. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about,
I think I keep seeing commercials, like ads for that, and
Samurai Love Ballad, I can't get into it.
Is it old? Like,
does it
look like it's in a different time period? Yeah,
it looks like it's in a different time period, and the main character is just so, like, it's fine if the main character has personality, but the main character is so, like, I'm a damsel, and then, like, all the dudes are so, like, I'm a dude. I don't know, and the story is not interesting enough. Like, Mystic Messenger is, like, there's, like, a cult, like, there's some crazy shit going on, and in the Arcana, it's, like, you lost your memory, you don't know what's going on, like, it's really fascinating, and I'm like, oh, what is happening? So it's less about the cute boys, more about the fascinating games, and then also It's just really satisfying to romance people. I'm sorry.
So it's like a good story with, like, romancing.
And then you romance them, and you're like, ha 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 ha, I've romanced you.
I don't usually play, like, dating simulator games, but Game Grumps came out with one called Dream Daddy, and I'm sure I've talked about it before.
Seen it. I want to play it.
I fucking love that game.
I saw that.
But it's on Steam. And anytime you play a game, your Steam friends get notified that you're playing that game.
Oh no!
So all the time, all of my Steam friends, which are like family members and friends usually, you know.
So you playing Dream Daddy?
I'm playing Dream Daddy.
That's great.
And
That's
you know,
great.
sounds pretty suggestive, but it is just the best game. It's just dads dating dads.
It's just dads dating dads.
It's
like
the best game. Which kind of leads me into another question that I have for you guys, which is, where do we separate the line between fandoms and, like, just things that you believe? Like, I'm wondering if political parties are fandoms, and we might have talked about this before, I don't remember. Political parties, or, like, being a feminist, is that a fandom? Or, like, being super into gay pride, you know how some people are just, like, take it to the next level?
It can be.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that is a fandom. I just
it can
feel
totally
like
be
it
a
is.
fandom. It's one thing to be
a
like,
fandom.
I'm proud of who I am, yay. But it's another thing to be like, this is, like, if you talk, okay, like, I'm all for people, like, it's just such a good example, the pride community. If you just are who you are, fucking dope. Be that. If you're super excited and that's all you want to talk about, fucking dope. You do that. Though, when you meet somebody and that's all they talk about, that's all they wear, that's all they are, that's all they watch, that's all that is, it's like, you are deep in this fandom. Like, it's gone beyond pride into, like, this is your life.
I actually,
Like,
I love
fandom.
Queer Eye. Queer Eye is, like, one of my favorite shows.
I haven't
Queer Eye
seen
First
the
Second.
new ones
It's
yet. I
so
keep hearing about
good.
it.
Oh my god, it's so good, guys.
I keep
Guys,
hearing
guys.
about it.
Oh my
I
god,
gotta watch
it's so
it.
good. It's
I was
so
just telling David
wholesome.
that I gotta watch it.
It will make you feel good even when you feel like just a piece of shit. And one of the things they say is that it's a pillar, it's not the whole house. And I love that so much. They're like, being gay is just like a part of who you are. It's not all of who you are. And I just love that so much.
That's
because
wonderful.
I feel like it's not a thing I ever have to mention. It's not a thing I ever have to bring to the table. And it's just, I feel like that is kind of the attitude that I totally accept people who are like, it's all they talk about. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Live your life. That's great. But I feel like it's showing a little bit of insecurity. And you need to be, you know, proud of who you are and really take hold of it. I don't know. Once you feel like you take hold of it, it's just a part of your identity. And you move on with your life. I don't know. I just feel like it might be a sign of insecurity. And again, I'm not a medical professional.
I can totally see that. I don't know. I can totally see that. But
I feel like for some people it might be, but I feel like also for others it's just like, because it's who they are. I think of like Ash, because Ash wrote like the literal ABCs of LGBT, like, and has like an LGBT education channel and like does like a lot of like, I guess I would call it activist work, just because he's like trying to help educate.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's almost like part of their job.
That's different.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Ash.
Yeah, so I
has
feel
made
like
a
it's
career.
like
yeah.
So it's
That's
like not
awesome,
only like
is what that is.
their like fandom, but also like their career, like their job.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
That
It's
makes
like helping
total
to
sense.
educate people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. But again, it's like Ash has other things going on. It's not the only thing they've got going on in their life. And that's where I feel like the line is drawn, is like, is it your whole life? And Christians do this all the time. Textbook.
all the time.
Oh,
Textbook.
yeah.
It's where
All
it's
the
like a cult kind of vibe.
It's the Jesus
like, relax.
fandom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
It is,
Jesus
it's the Jesus
fandom. That's
fandom.
what it is.
Oh man, yeah. Except for it goes to a really bad place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I
that's
feel
the
like
thing. It's just like,
so
it gets into
damaging.
the toxic fandom stuff.
It does.
Yes.
It
There
does
are
get
some,
into a toxic
Jesus
fandom.
has
Oh my
some
God.
toxic fans.
yes, they do.
Oh my god.
Yes, they absolutely do. And that brings us into another question that I had, which is, what's the worst fandom? I feel like we have to target one individual
man.
fandom
Oh,
and
gosh.
decide
Do
which
we
one
want
is
the worst fandom to
worst.
come for us? Because
Yes,
that's
they
we're
will.
setting
Yeah,
ourselves
That's the
up
thing.
for.
They're gonna come for us. Yeah,
That's
they're
a
gonna
good
they're
point.
gonna come at us. Honestly, okay, I think I know what it is, and I'm gonna hurt feelings, and I may join this fandom someday. But
What is
I
it?
think
I'm curious now.
that K-pop has the worst fandom.
Okay.
This
No, they
could
do.
just be
They
me.
do. I can confirm. Okay.
I'm balls
I
deep
don't
in the
know
I'm
K-pop
I'm
fandom.
thinking about like all the fandoms because it's like a lot of them I've dabbled in,
Yes.
but like this is the one that
No.
like I see all the time, and a lot of the time it's the toxic stuff.
It is. Okay, I only have a little bit of experience. I enjoy K-pop. I listen to it. I don't really give a crap about the internet fandom, so I haven't engaged. But I'm a very big stan of Simon and Martina Stalsky. They're amazing J-vlogger couple, and I love them. They're my senpais. But they started out in Korea, and they really got into K-pop when they were there, and they started making this thing called K-pop Music Mondays, where they were like, talk about it. I didn't even watch the videos because I'm not interested in that part of their career, but apparently they made a bunch of friends in the K-pop community, blah, 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 and on the off chance they expressed, like, unpopular opinions, people actually tried to get them fucking deported. They reported them to immigration. Like, even them moving away from Korea to Japan actually got them like a huge bunch of problems because people were mad at them for turning their backs on K-pop. Like, it's a big deal.
I'd like to go on record and say we support the K-pop community.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, this is another thing. There's, okay, somewhere in K-pop, there's, like, I don't know if it's a band or a singer or whatever the hell, but it's, like, BTS.
Yeah, they're a band. They're a little boy
Okay,
band.
cool. I see, the main thing that I see that, or where I see that, is, like, when you'll see, like, Supernatural release BTS footage, and it's supposed to be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then you will get, like, you look in the comments, and there's a ton of K-pop people being like, why would you post that? You're just, like, trying to clickbait the K-pop community, and it's, like, all this kind of, like, really drama stuff, and I'm just like, calm down, oh my god.
Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just a random like, behind the scenes thing. What? What? What?
Yep.
I totally
they
understand.
are intense.
I'd like to say my favorite K-pop group is Blackpink right now. I can't stop watching their videos. They're the most
they're
impressive.
great.
I've seen a couple that's I need to get I need to watch all of them because yes.
I'm not super well versed. I really like 2NE1 is not together anymore, but CL, who's a member of that, went out on her own and has some really fucking banger solo songs. Love Hello Bitches, Lifted. She did a thing with Diplo once. She's dope. And 2NE1 was actually a really good K-pop band before they broke up as well. And Blackpink's really good.
Yeah, they usually break up after a couple years, and it's a bummer. But also, like, they are so, like, businessly put together. It's not like a lot
Well,
of...
actually, because Simon and Martina were a part of that life for so long, they got, like, the behind the scenes, and they've made some, like, videos talking about how it works, and apparently they, like, kind of slave own them.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
they indenture
groom
servant
them.
them. They, like, invest,
Yeah.
like, hundreds of thousands of dollars into making them a star. They make them a star, and then everything they make goes to paying it off, but it also has interest, so it's like a never-ending student loan that you can't escape
Oh
from.
my god.
Yeah.
I even heard they, like, assign them personalities. Like,
They
you're
do.
the cute one,
Yeah,
you're the
they
sexy
do.
one, you're the...
Yes, they do.
And they train them how to act and
crazy.
everything. Like this is just like hearsay, but I've heard about crazy like how they groom them into being like the perfect pop stars.
Yeah,
which
they
is
do.
why every group is literally perfect, and it's just why we
Yeah.
love them so much. I
mean, it's
can't
extremely
get over...
lucrative, and they have good fucking shit.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
their
And I
dance
feel like-
routines are just out of
So
this
good.
world.
I kind of like I like how it sounds weird, but I like how like put together K-pop
Manufactured.
bands are. Like in America. Yeah, like in America I feel
too.
like people are like you can't stop faking it. Like this is just like a product of the music industry, but I like it when it comes out of like Korea cuz they
Yeah.
do it so well. I don't
It's
know.
perfect.
Maybe
It just is.
yeah,
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
It's perfect, and for some reason, even though it's, like, manufactured, it's like, I want it that way. Whereas in
Yes,
America, like, for the
exactly.
Pussycat Dolls back in the early 2000s, like, they tried to mimic it, and it just, like, floundered, because it just was like, it's not perfect. And it looked manufactured in the bad way. I don't know. It's just...
Or like
Yeah.
what is it? The Spice Girls?
Oh my god, the Spice
yeah.
Girls were my shit when
Yeah.
I was young girl. Oh my god.
Right?
You just gave me a
I
throwback.
feel like
oh my
right?
god.
Like I feel like that is K-pop of what? The 90s?
Yeah.
American
man.
K-pop of the 90s
Yeah.
is Spice Girls.
I love the Spice Girls. I wasn't
They
allowed
had the
to listen
assigned
to them.
personalities. They
Yes, they
Yeah.
did it though. They were so successful. It worked. But I feel like they're the last ones to actually successfully do it.
yeah. See, it's like that. They're the Spice Girls. Like that's why Korean pop like songs and music and everything is so like why it feels so good is that it's like the Spice Girls. It's that same feeling.
Once America got into that like grunge phase of like we've got to be our own person, we never really bounced back from that. And now when people like ghostwrite things, people get all bent out of shape and like lip syncing and stuff bent out of shape. And I feel like they don't have those types of hang-ups. And it's why it's perfect is because nobody can be perfect unless you're perfectly manufactured as like a robot.
Yeah.
That being said,
I feel like they acknowledge that, whereas here we expect things to be real.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, we want everything to be genuine right now, and you know, we go back to the manufactured every time. It's where YouTube's going too. It's like,
oh my god,
we hit that peak genuine, and then we go back to like, let's be more businessy. It's strange.
Oh yeah, no, it's so true.
It's real weird. But
actually, at the point, we're gonna go back. I'm sorry. This is going off of what you said. Still kind of relevant. Still not. I was like, speaking of peaking, I feel like YouTube's in this very strange place where stuff. I've been analyzing it because I'm like, why? I'm getting fed up. It's been 4 years. Why? You know what I mean? YouTube is at this very strange place where the viewers tend to favor stuff that is relatable and real, to a point that they don't know that it's manufactured. So they like the Casey Neistats, they like the Elle Mills, they like other like independent filmmakers that are coming up. This girl Sorella Moore, it's very like, I'm relatable, I'm real, I'm making this myself, this is a one-man show. And then like as a filmmaker, as a person who creates, I break them apart and I'm like, this took so much work. To the fact that people don't understand just how unrelatable this is. And that is getting favored at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've always wanted things to look easy, but be perfect. Yeah. And it's very strange, because that's such an oxymoron.
Yeah.
I feel like Americans, like, we almost, like, culturally have this hatred of what manufactured kind of fake things. Like, the idea of, like Photoshop beauty can't exist in real life, and I think we want it to so bad that we lash out at Photoshop. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so we're just like, well, you can't Photoshop models. You have to tell everyone that it's Photoshop because otherwise you're making me think that this is real, that this could be possible. Instead of where I feel like, I don't know, in Korea, it's almost like they've just acknowledged, like, oh, no, it's all Photoshopped.
Like,
everything
obviously.
is fake. If it's perfect, it's probably fake because,
we need to get to a point.
Real perfection is so unlikely.
But
which
to
is
have
smarter
that transfer over to the American audience is where you get going back to what we were talking about, that toxic
we're
fandom.
Being stupid. It's if we want our entertainment to be perfect, which we do, it's gonna have to be manufactured, which it is. But we get mad when it is. I watch all TV like it's scripted, even the reality stuff. Like I watch it as if it's scripted, and it makes a lot more sense because people don't act like that, and they don't do that kind of stuff perfectly, and there's not a perfect buildup of drama. It's either hugely edited or scripted. Those are the only two options. And I think most of the time it's scripted or at least egged on by producers and stuff. I mean, I've been working a little bit with, like, real film studios, and the amount of work producers do behind the scenes is, like, nauseating.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's insane. You don't see how much work goes into it. And again, we want it to look easy. Nothing about entertainment is easy, ever. But we want it to be. We want it to be our real life, and it's just not.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting. Okay, back to fandoms.
Yes.
Another point I wanted to bring up is every fandom just the worst? Let's consider it. Let's consider it. Yeah, probably.
Oh, I think that. Oh, I feel like all fandoms are like a spectrum of like good, nice fandom stuff, and then it gets to the toxic point, and there's like a gradient between there.
Yeah.
So like every fandom will have an amount of that rot. And then you have certain fandoms like Destiel and like all these kind of things that have a lot of rot.
Yes.
Just like a deep cesspit at the far end of it. And like the rest of the fandom is fine, but it gets into this really negative space.
Yes.
And just different ones will have different amounts of like toxic fans.
It's because it like gets to a level of filth that all the good ones are like, what the fuck are you doing? And then they just leave. And then it just
Yeah,
descends
that's the
into
worst.
hell.
That's
Is when
exactly
like
what the
when the
fuck
fandom
happens.
Oh my
when
God.
it gets to the point where it's like the filth expands so far into the good area
Yes.
that the good area is like nope
This
and just
makes me
cuts itself
uncomfortable.
off.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
pack our
and you
shit
just-
and leave. Take my toys
It's
and go home.
like Rick and Morty. Like I used to like Rick and Morty. I thought it was a great show. I still like it as a TV show. We were driving, we saw someone who had a license plate on a minivan that said Swifty, and
man.
we all just went off on this
So
minivan,
cringy.
just like,
It's
ooh,
so
it was so
cringy.
gross. It was so gross.
And I don't know why, because
it's-
it's most of the time you're like, great, you're representing your fandom. But every time I see like Rick and Morty paraphernalia in the wild, although I love the show, it's so
Yeah.
cringy every time. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Like, ooh, you're one of
Stop.
those
Yeah.
fans. You're one of the
those
toxic
people.
fans.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fandom is the worst. Let's rate that the worst.
Yeah, that one's. Ooh, that
That's
one.
true.
Honestly, that one might be worse than K-pop.
It might be.
The Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
the toxic side of the Rick and Morty fandom might
Might
be
be the
worse
worst.
than the toxic side of
Yeah.
the K-pop fandom.
Let's just say every
I think-
fandom is the worst and just leave
yeah,
it
they,
at
they
that.
all
Their
have
special
they all have a
way.
gross,
Everything
awful. I'm sure if
sucks.
you got all of the toxic fans together and let them like
my
argue it
God.
out,
There
it would
would
just
be-
a cesspool.
It would just be,
It'd be a bloodbath.
bloodbath. Yeah, it would just be like a massacre. They would kill each other dead with knives for real.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd watch
that's
it.
what the fuck.
Yeah.
would
I watched that on TV.
Yeah, that'd be good reality.
Oh my god, that's the
That'd be a
best
good reality show.
I've ever seen. Oh my god. Oh, that's the best. It's the worst.
Just call it
but
toxic
it's the best.
fandoms.
Oh my
It would
god.
be
Yes.
the best.
We have $1 million idea, guys.
Yes. Oh, that would be so great. You could just like it for a reality TV show. Realistically, you could have them have like a physical round where they have to like beat each other with foam sticks or something. That would be funny. But also, you could have like a defend your fandom kind of thing where it's like, give me a PowerPoint presentation on why your fandom is better than this other fandom. Tell me why it's not as awful as people think. It would be really awesome.
That would be good. I'd watch it.
I would watch
Yep.
it too.
Alright, so let's get into some really weird fandoms that I feel like we've all heard of, but we've never really fully embraced and really delved into. And we need to root around in that filth, feel it out, see what's going on. So first of all, I
Yes.
think the weirdest fandom I've ever heard of is Juggalos. I just can't understand.
Is that a fandom or is that a job? I thought that was just the name
Gigolo.
for a male prostitute.
Gigolo.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
clowns?
gonna say that.
Wait, are they the clowns?
Yes.
Okay.
Juggalos are the
All right.
clowns. Gigolos is a male whore.
You would think they would pick another name.
You really would
That's
think
very
that.
close.
I don't know where that even comes from.
Oh,
I'm
well.
sure there's some weird backstory to this that none of us know.
Maybe
True.
it looks like maybe it's a Spanish word. I can't understand though. It's so
Oh
similar.
yeah,
to
no, this
jug-
makes
to
complete
gigolo.
sense now.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
if it's based on a Spanish word, I can completely understand it.
I should look
Because
that
I
up.
know that it's big in like Hispanic culture.
I think it
Being
is
a
as well.
No.
Oh, the other one.
No, I mean yes, like
The other one.
that
Which
being
we
part of
gotta
that
specify.
fandom, being part of the like, is it Juggalo, the clown one,
The
right?
clown one is the juggle. It's the you
Okay,
and then the
part
I.
of that fandom is like, okay, the clown one
Yes.
is I've seen it in Hispanic culture a lot.
Okay, got
Yes,
it.
I've heard it from like aunts and uncles and relatives.
I did not
and-
know this. I mean,
Huh.
I've never been exposed to this. And my husband's Puerto Rican.
I may have just made
We're
that up.
making fools of ourselves,
are.
I'm sure.
I know.
I speak some Spanish, but not juggalo part.
No.
I don't know that word.
Nope.
It says it's just name given to the fans of Insane Clown Posse, which is I knew that
Okay.
part already, but it just doesn't have a
It's just
derivation.
the name. Okay. Let's talk more about what the fuck it is, though.
Yes,
'Cause
let's
I'm
do
still
that. Let's do
A little
that.
unsure.
All right, so what do you guys know about them besides the Insane Clown Posse part?
It was on Phil DeFranco.
I know that they
for
paint
some
their
reason.
faces.
Yes,
That's all I
that's a
got.
big
That's-
part.
I have like when I was in high school, I had friends who really liked Insane Clown Posse. It would have like the band logo thing with the is like a tomahawk or something, or is that something else?
Yeah,
But,
it's
like,
got
I've
a
had
little
friends who were at fandoms.
hatchet kind of thing.
Yes.
Are they the scary? Like, are they moderately scary? I know that.
Yeah, they're
Like,
pretty
So
scary.
it's like the
Moderate.
Joker's fandom in real life.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm
That's my
familiar.
understanding.
Yeah, that's kind
They're
of
a
what
bit
it is.
scary.
Basically, they're just fans of this band, but it got really insane. So they have the Gathering of the Juggalos, which is, sometimes they just call it the Gathering. Sounds really spooky, honestly, but
it sounds ominous. I'm sure that's the intention.
I mean, they just get together and have a good time with their people who like the same band as them. It seems wholesome. But they also really they try and emulate, like, evil clowns and corpses, which, you know, again, I'm alright with, honestly. Doesn't bother me. They also really like, knife stabbings and stuff, like, people getting killed with knives, in general.
Yes.
Maybe not so wholesome. Yeah.
That's not typically what you see on Sesame Street, no.
It's not there. Another weird thing I found was that they like to drink and spray the inexpensive soft drink Faygo, which I've never heard of.
Oh.
But I'm intrigued.
Spray it, and that's just like, wait, guys, we have to have a Faygo moment, and then you just wet everybody.
Faygo with your friends while you're wearing face paint. It sounds like a goofy, great time. Maybe stab somebody.
Maybe.
They have gangs and stuff as well, but I don't think that is...
Wait, they got gangs?
Yeah, they have Juggalo gangs where they, like, assault people and traffic drugs, which is, again...
How did this band turn into a gang?
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because I don't even know if
they make music. Fan. Hey, let's make music and just kind of, like, some weird shit. Like, literally every other rock band. I think it's one of those
things where it's, like, that's... The kind of people... I hate using that expression, but, like, the sort of people who would listen to that music are also the kind of people who would traffic drugs. And, because have you ever listened to their music? It's very intense.
Yeah.
It's really intense.
Yeah. I don't know, I cannot fathom how music can lead somebody into a lifestyle.
I'm not sure.
I think it's more like the lifestyle and the music just coincide naturally.
Not related.
That, like, that's just, that they're not really... related, they just drag together. It's like the whole thing about, like, canned tomatoes have been linked to cancer, and I had a friend who pointed out, because the whole, like, correlation isn't causation, it's not canned tomatoes that are causing cancer, it's the lifestyle attached to canned tomatoes. If you are the kind of person who is eating canned tomatoes, which I've checked are actually more expensive than just buying fresh tomatoes, you are the kind of person who is more likely to maybe not go to the doctor or not exercise or, like, all these other factors that could be potentially linked but aren't necessarily, like, cause and, like...
That's so interesting.
Aren't necessarily causing. They're just linked. So it's like, canned tomatoes are linked to cancer because they, like, envelop this kind of, like, lifestyle sort of thing.
Yeah. See, that sounds like a thing that, like, a middle-aged mom would get up in, like, a Christian... thing and say, but it totally does make sense in, like, a like, let's watch ourselves on this slippery slope here kind of way. Like, that part makes sense, but then I could see them using it to be like, violent video games are gonna cause people to shoot up schools, which is not the thing. Or, as my great congressman Diane Black said, pornography leads to school shootings, because she's incredible. God. Guys, there's an election coming up. Don't make her governor. She's running for governor. Ugh.
Ooh, I keep seeing, my literal nightmares. I keep seeing signs for Joe Arpaio. You know, the guy that Trump pardoned? Who is, like, incredibly racist and who fucking is... He's the thing of my literal nightmares. Like, I grew up as a little kid hearing horror stories about this man of, like the prisons that he was running and how he was, like making the prisoners do so many, like, horrible freaking things, specifically the Latinos. And it was just, like, it was terrifying. And he was, like, he's the one that Trump pardoned, essentially, and said, like, okay, here, you're good to go. And he's terrifying and awful. And now he's running for sheriff or governor.
Oh, no.
And it's, like, because he's rich and he can afford to do it. And I'm just, like, I'm absolutely terrified. And I keep seeing his signs on the side of the road, and it's just, like, horrible flashbacks. And, ooh, I'm so afraid because he's awful. He's, like, John Oliver did an entire video about him, and my sister and I were sitting there watching it like, yep, I remember when that happened. I remember when he did that. I remember when that was going on. I just want to throw out there for, like, the Insane Clown Posse fandom, like, if you want to be a fan of Insane Clown Posse, go for it. Do your thing. Like, if you want to paint your face and, like, spit soda on people as long as it's consensual, like, do your thing. Trafficking drugs is illegal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily related to the fandom at all, but that is illegal. Yeah. Don't do that in general.
Gangs
just don't do illegal things. Don't stab people.
Things.
That's bad. Stabbing people is bad. But, like, if you want to live your life and like the idea of stabbing people... Like, as a concept...
I just had a thought.
Go for it.
I'm sorry, I was like, ooh, bad thought. It sounded like a good thought, it wasn't. So, speaking of niche fandoms that go into weird places, it reminds me of that story from, I think, like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, of these middle schoolers who were obsessed with Creepypasta and stabbed their friend, 40-something times.
Because they said the Slender Man told them to do it.
Yeah. She lived. The girl lived.
Thankfully.
That's good.
It was these two little girls who were like 10 and 11 or somewhere around there. They were little. Got one of their friends into the forest. Yeah, they were little and stabbed the girl a bunch of times and then ran away from home. And the little girl lived. She like crawled to help.
I feel like that's just a case of like mental illness. Like that's I very much feel like these two little girls, I feel like it was probably more so one of them convincing the other, or like leading the other one into it. I'm not saying either one, but I feel like it's more likely that one of them had some form of mental illness that they needed help with and they didn't get the help that they needed, and Creepypasta was this like trigger for them that set off all of these horrible ideas. Because being a fan of Creepypasta, I feel like, is another thing where it's like you have to be able to separate, I don't know, like recognize that the illegal stuff is still illegal.
Yeah.
And if it's like, that's the direct part of the fandom, I mean, it's kind of the fandom's fault. That might be bad. I don't know, but...
Well, illegal activity, interestingly enough, in fandom is actually not that uncommon. It just seems like not a big deal until it is a big deal. So, just in my time on Tumblr, particularly interested in Otome, sometimes you have people being like, oh, high school AU with this person, and they write about sexual activity with minors.
Ew.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
another
it's like,
thing.
It's this openly accepted thing until you have grown-ass adults who are grown-ass adults being like, this is bad, don't do that shit. Like, in one of the Discord servers I'm in, people have actually been kicked the fuck out because legal liability actually exists on Tumblr, believe it or not. That's not uncommon to fetishize children and stuff like that. Even in
that stuff creeps me out. But that's a huge argument in the art community that I try not to touch with a 10-foot pole, but I guess I'm touching it now.
It's like we've touched the untouchable.
Where people will draw like childish / sexy stuff, and it's really creepy, and then people will be like, you're being like, this is kind of pedophilic, what are you doing? And they're like, no, it's not, it's art, it's not like it's an actual child, it's not like anything is going on. And it's like, ooh, I don't know, man, ooh, I don't know, like, this is not as bad as like molesting a real person, but you gotta recognize that this is kind of pedophilic. Like, it's creepy and it's gross, and it's like, I don't want to touch it, I don't want to think about it, I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist because it's not going to be my problem right now.
There are so
I'm not doing it.
Strange things with like age of consent stuff, and especially with like the way they treat, I think this is so interesting. I love true crime. I don't know, I've mentioned it like 50 times now. I'm just so into that. And that's another little, it felt like a niche community, but it's like...
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big nowadays.
It's pretty big.
But back in the day, like when I was younger, nobody talked about that sort of thing. And, you know, you couldn't, because people would think that you're a serial killer. You're just interested. So as soon as you hit 18, you're an adult. Great. Fine. Perfect. Statutory rape laws are very strange, because as soon as you hit 18, if your girlfriend was 17 and you guys were 17 having a sexual relationship, 17 to 17, that's fine. But as soon as you hit 18, you're going to be marked as a sex offender for the rest of your life, which is very interesting. And it's the same sexual offender label as, you know, a 40-year-old man would get for being with that 17-year-old girl, which is really kind of strange, I feel like. Not that I'm saying that 18-year-old person should be with the 17-year-old, but I think there needs to be a distinction there. And another fun thing, child pornography laws are very strange, and any minor in a lewd position, not necessarily nude, but in a lewd position, is technically child porn. So there were these girls... So,
anything with a child that could be misconstrued as...
There were these girls at a sleepover in their pajamas, fully clothed, but I guess I didn't see the picture, but they were posing strangely, sexually, and they were underage. They took pictures of themselves. So they were in possession of child pornography. They all got labeled as sex offenders when they're 12.
Whoa.
Because they're in possession of child pornography. So minors can also be prosecuted for pictures of themselves.
That's so weird.
And
Very
that,
strange.
I would assume then would obviously link over into writing and fiction. So, you really gotta be careful. Especially because when you are 17 and you're about to be 18, and it's kind of really hard to differentiate. So, when you turn 18, it's let's talk about the high school AU where they bang. It's don't do that shit.
It's not okay. I wasn't justifying any of it. I just think the laws are very strange.
It's just I'm saying that as a kid, those 12-year-old girls are probably just having fun.
They're having a good time.
Sleepover.
Right. They've seen it on TV so much. They don't think it's strange.
It's hard for somebody who's young and developing, who is developing or is suddenly an adult, to differentiate that line between what's okay and what's not, which is where, because in fandoms, you start getting that weird gray area where you're oh...
That's what's so interesting to me, is the gray area.
It sucks getting older, because, I'm, 27 right now, and it sucks as I get older, because I love having cartoon crushes. I love picking, I really like this person, they're my favorite character, I'm just gonna like them. It's really nice. But as you get older, it becomes, it's I can't, there's fewer and fewer people that I can just have crushes on. Voltron. I totally have a crush on Shiro.
I need to watch Voltron.
Which is... it's so good! And, I love...
I have to watch it.
Lance, he's, adorable, a little bean. Not in, a attraction kind of way. Just, he's freaking adorable and he's a great character. But it's, I was looking up their ages, and, Shiro is 28. Yeah. He's, a year older than I am. And he has, gray hair and stuff, and I'm nice. Oh my god, no, he's supposed to be, the older, He's the only person who's technically my age, and I'm just I thought you were 30-something. No, he's technically just late 20s, and I'm is this how the world sees me? Am I just this old to everyone?
Yes. That's how they see you.
That's really
I know,
funny.
it sucks.
Another interesting thing is My Hero Academia is a really big anime right now. It's it's a niche in the anime community, but it's super popular.
Tony loves it so much.
Yeah.
I love My Hero
Academia. To watch it.
Anyway, it's so fucking good. Anyway, these are children. They're kids, as most anime are. And I've seen so much questionable fan art of, sexy things, and oh my god. But then they age them up sometimes, too, where it's, an aged-up version of that person. And I'm
that's good.
That's still, it's better, but it's still a bit weird, because you're technically looking at this 14-year-old character and being oh, I would bang the fuck out of him.
Oh my god, it's so strange.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that's such a gray
I can
area.
kind of but as an artist, I can understand that, because it's they're reducing them to the essence of their humanity.
Yes.
Whereas, this character is a good concept.
It's
and
definitely...
if this concept was more like me, then I would like them.
It's
so
definitely
make them
because they're a cartoon character that I feel it might be okay.
Because you can't really do that with, real people, but with cartoons...
No, I mean, look at freaking Finn Wolfhard in that 27-year-old model. You guys know this story? Finn Wolfhard, for those who don't know, was the kid from Stranger Things.
Yes, oh my gosh, I know this.
So he's, at the time, was 14, and this... Stranger Things made it big. I think he maybe turned 15 in the process.
This was just after the second season launched.
Yeah, and this girl, who's an Instagram model, 27 years old, she's very attractive, very, very pretty girl, was email me when you turn 18, Finn, and I'll show you a good time.
Oh.
Yeah, it was something really creepy.
That's
it was something real creepy shit.
And the crazy thing is, there was definitely a backlash, obviously. But there was, people, dude bros, being why the fuck is he complaining? Because he was that's really uncomfortable. I don't like that. Dudes were I would have killed to bang somebody like that.
Oh my god.
Like, why is he complaining? And I was like, what?
This is still a huge problem in our society,
It is.
men getting ignored for sexual harassment, sexual abuse, that kind of thing.
Of course.
It is.
And the
It is.
sentencing that women get compared to what men get is insane.
Fucking...
Sexual
That's a whole
abuse
nother
is sexual
podcast.
abuse is sexual
That's a
abuse
whole
is
nother
the same.
podcast.
I know,
could
I'm
go on.
furious about it. I have so many opinions.
Yeah.
I do too.
Did you
I
see?
do too.
Okay, I was just watching. I rarely watch like full frontal clips on YouTube, but I saw one and it was like about like male sexual harassment, and they had Terry Crews on it just as like a random like
Terry
cameo.
Crews,
He is my freaking hero, and it's
What
so
a
great because he walks
wholesome
out and he's
guy.
like, "Hey, I'm Terry Crews, and I'm here because I'm fucking Terry Crews," and I'm just like, "Yes, you are fucking Terry Crews, and I love you." He is great.
He's
He's
such
like
a
my
bean.
freaking hero.
love
He's the
him.
best.
He is like, I feel so good about admiring him because I feel
Yes,
like he can do no
same.
wrong. Like I can put my
Yes.
trust in him because he
Yes.
won't let me down.
Yes.
And I
He
just
never let me down.
fucking
He's like,
fingers
he's
crossed
a
he
teddy
stays
bear. He's
wholesome
like,
forever.
I love the whole like gentle giant
Oh my
character
God,
kind
me
of people,
too.
and he is like the epitome of that.
Such
of just
a good
like,
dude.
of just like gentle on the inside and like could also crush you. And it's like, you make me feel safe, Terry. I love you.
Yep. Mood.
I love that. That's so good.
Really quick, back on what we were talking about, just because I have a thought and I don't want to lose it. But Terry Crews is a cinnamon roll, and I love him. Back at the Finn Wolfhard model thing, when you look at it that way, you're weirded out. We go back to My Hero Academia, it's technically the same thing. But one's real and one's a cartoon.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's a bit questionable.
Age them up. That, yeah.
It's a bit questionable.
Huh.
I mean, and obviously there's non-stop, porny type art of them as kids also, which is bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, let's not sexualize children.
Especially not when it
Please.
relates to real people. Like that's.
Yeah.
I have a
Never
fun
do that stuff
fact.
with real
Maybe this
people.
can be my positive. Very interesting fact. So back in the day, and not even that long ago, like early 1900s, they used to dress all children in a feminine way, like with dresses and long hair and stuff. All children.
I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah. So there was a picture of the Romanovs that I was looking at the other day, and Alexei just looks like a little girl, and it's because they're supposed to remain totally innocent and pure, and that was what they saw as like the most innocent and pure form is just a little girl, and I just thought that was very interesting. And they don't even see it as obviously like a little girl; it's just like innocent clothing is a dress and long hair, and I just think that's so interesting. I don't know; it's just an interesting fact that I have, and I think it's kind of positive and like a
That's
yeah. People
That's
never
pure.
did
That's
care.
like a pleasant. That's
I
very
thought it
pure
was
and
pleasant.
pleasant.
Yeah, I liked
I
it.
like it. I guess as far as positive, going off of niche fandoms, on a positive note, if you are in a niche fandom and you feel like you're alone, you're not. People are just quiet and maybe scared away because of some behaviors of other people. But don't be ashamed to like the thing. Just don't be a pedophile and don't do illegal activities, and you're fine.
That's the lesson today. Don't be a pedophile. Enjoy your niche fandoms.
Hell
Lead
yeah.
the way. Start an amino. That's
Oh yeah,
Amino.
yeah.
Yeah.
Amino's
Spon-
great.
Start
no, we're
Discord.
not
Start
sponsored. We're not
Amino.
talking about Amino.
technically I am
pay us
sponsored. I'm in the
money.
process of doing amino sponsors.
I've been sponsored by them like
Amino
3
or
times,
Discord.
so-
I'm gonna throw both of those out there. Just make
Okay,
your
Discord's
own
fine.
freaking chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a chat room.
And talk about your fandom
Yes.
somewhere on the internet.
It makes such a big difference. And you know what? Sometimes having a passion project for a thing, even if you think nobody's going to give a fuck, is going to make you feel so much better. And it feels really good to do it.
I absolutely
And you're like,
agree.
yeah, I did it.
I love
So, go
knitting
for it.
still, even though nobody cares about knitting.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad that you
Nice.
stuck with that.
It's my favorite. It's so
That's
peaceful. I love it. All right, you want to say our platforms, Crystal?
Yeah, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and SoundCloud, mostly on Mondays.
Mostly.
Unless we're super busy, all
Yeah.
three of us, because
Yeah.
that
That
happens a
happens.
fair bit.
And our handles are
At Happy Panda Party.
At Echo is Weird.
and at the Crystal Joy.
And remember, friends, the human body cannot survive without salt. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.